No, I can't keep secrets. This is why I have a very limited amount of friends. And yeah, you're right. It makes magic look cool. I hope. Well, you know what happened? I did a movie about where I played a macaw, which was an endangered species. And after the movie came out, it made those birds popular, and people bought them. But of course, people bought them because of the movie, and not because they can take care of them. And then these birds were all. I don't know what happened to them, but it was a terrible thing for these birds. Anyway, I'm wondering what the equivalent would happen if we make magic cool for children. And a lot of people will buy, like, I don't know, rabbits and put them in hats and then not take care of them. Yeah, but I think, yeah, probably people will see the movie and it makes magic look cool, I guess. When I first read the script, I wanted to play my character more like David Blaine, because I thought, like, my character was like a street magician in the script. I thought, oh, he'd be like David Blaine, kind of like very casual, dressed like regular clothing. But the director wanted to have like a more flashy style. So I guess the whole aesthetic for the magicians is that they're kind of like these cool magicians of the future, and that the tricks they're doing are like could be done in like 5 years. That was actually the rubric we used, that all this magic could be done in 5 years. That it's actually not possible now, but it will be possible, you know, with the governing laws of the universe, that it can actually be done. And so yeah, I guess it will. Yeah, I guess it's probably good for the world of magic. I know the magicians who worked on the movie are really excited about it and excited that it will present them in a way that appears good. And I didn't see that movie, that magic movie that came out with Jim Carrey's. Yeah, I mean, I play a character who was like the best sleight of hand magician in the world, so he would have been practicing for 25 years, and I didn't have that much time. I had about 4 weeks before we started shooting to practice, and then 4 months while shooting to like perfect things that were going to be done at the end of the movie. So I learned some basic sleight of hand tricks. Do you know like what a snap change is? You know, where you like hold a card up and then you flip your hand. Yeah. So like I could do this thing very well because I had to practice this for like 4 months, and so because it was going to be filmed at the end of the shoot, so I could do some like smaller, less complicated, less impressive tricks pretty well.
What about this one? Like where you do the fan like that? Was that really?
No, I can't do that. Can you do that?
No, hell no.
Really
that wasn't really...
okay, yes, so there's a scene where like I'm handcuffed to a table.
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
great.
these twin brothers named Dan and Dave Buck, the Buck brothers, and these are the best card flourishers in the world. These guys are incredible. And they could make cards like what you're talking about, like they could do this thing like where they call it like a cascade or a waterfall or something, and the cards look like they're tied together, and it's just so beautiful what they're able to do. So they actually superimpose their hands over my body in that scene. But yeah, I guess there was a lot of computer effects, but it was not because the magic wasn't able to be done. It was just because like we couldn't do them. So a scene like that, for example, where I'm shuffling the cards, they kind of superimpose those guys' hands over my body, but it's magic that could be done because those guys were actually doing it live.
Now,
well, they sent me the script while I was performing in a play in New York, and I had a lot of like stage fright performing every night. And when I read the script, I thought this character feels like more comfortable on stage than anywhere else. He's so confident. He thinks he's the best at what he does, and I thought like this is like a good way for me to challenge myself to play a certain kind of character that might be therapeutic in a way, because it would make me feel confident on stage and in my personal life. And it actually does work. Like while we were filming, I was feeling really good about myself, and like I had like a 4-month break from my own dumb neuroses, and so it was like comfortable. I was sleeping, I was eating, I had an avocado one day, and so like it was like a really fun experience. And it's not like difficult for me. Like whenever I take on a role, I find it like easy to get into the role, and once I'm there, then there's like little challenges along the way. But it's not like difficult. I could do that kind of thing, but I guess I don't get sent it as much. Yeah, and I think like a lot of actors could do a lot of different things, but sometimes when you get thought of for certain things, that's just what you end up playing. And I don't think it's a bad thing, because I feel like, God, if you can play one thing well, you're like a successful actor, because most actors can't play one thing well, you know? So I feel like, God, if you have the opportunity to like do one thing and you do it all the time, that's like great. It's like amazing, because most actors are out of work. So I got lucky, and then I could like do something like this occasionally, and it's fun.
Oh, awesome. No?
We're skipping her.
Why? What's going on?
She's my intern. She's an intern.
Oh,
It's her
great.
first time meeting a famous person.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh, sorry to disappoint you. Probably hoping for Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No, she's very excited.
Okay. I think my character was probably had an air of superiority when he was 5 years old, and then found himself alone in his bedroom and had a deck of cards and probably realized he was good at it and liked doing it, and then kind of, I would think probably isolated himself and just became focused on his work and became great at what he does and is now the best in the world. And then, of course, he gets teamed up with these other 3 characters who also were doing the same thing, who also felt like they were the best at what they do, and now they're all kind of competing with each other, but they have to work together. And so I think he feels like kind of annoyed by having to work with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leslie?
The lead actors that are in the movie with you are all very different. Not the usual that anyone would have assumed putting into each of the roles, but I love the way you guys work together. It's so
thanks.
great the way you guys work together. But I'm imagining that the set was really interesting because the personalities of the 4 leads, not to mention having 2, legends of acting in the room as well for part of the time. What was it? Can you just give us a sense of it, or give us a story that's representative of kind of what it was like to be all of you guys together in so quirky a group?
Yeah, like I never met Dave Franco and Isla Fisher, who play the other magician, but I know Woody Harrelson, and I know how he works, and he likes to kind of bring his own sense of humor to his roles, even if they're like dramatic roles. He likes to bring his own sensibility to it, and I like to do the same thing. And so I knew it would be fun to perform with him, but I didn't realize how funny Isla and Dave were. And when we were doing these shows, so most of the time the characters are like just talking to each other, but then we have 3 big performances, and when we're doing these performances, we would, film them over the course of a week, which doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it was like 16-hour days, very long days, and the same scene over and over again. It gets repetitive after a while, and because we all had a sense of humor, and there was an audience who was like a very patient group of New Orleans extras, we would really perform for them, and we would try to change the show up all the time, and I think a lot of that actually made it into the movie, a lot of our kind of off-the-cuff remarks or our chemistry or our personal interactions, and that came just out of trying to keep each other entertained. So when you try to do that, I think the movie is better for it. I suppose there's a version where the actors just try to entertain each other, and it's alienating to the audience and annoying to the audience. But we had a good director who knows how to control the set, and good actors who kind of know when to stop being funny and know when to like do the scene for real and actually push the plot forward and do the things that you need to do for the story. And so I think it was probably movies better for it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
You get that sense
in
in watching the movie.
Oh, that's
for
great.
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't felt that much. I'm getting like a little better, but no, normally it's like really difficult. So I just finished a play last Sunday, and we did like 80 performances, and the last show I was still like panicking before we did an 8 o'clock show, and the other actress was Vanessa Redgrave, and she's like the greatest actress in the world, and both of us would get there at 3 o'clock and start panicking for an 8 o'clock show. So I don't think it gets easier because, I thought maybe it does get easier, but then I met her, and she is still worried about making sure it's right, and so maybe it doesn't get easier. And I asked my father about this, and he said, well, maybe if you really care about what you do, then it will always be hard, because you'll always set a high standard for yourself. So I still feel like very nervous. That said, when I was playing this character, I felt really confident. So I think what happens is like the personality of the character starts to infect how you're feeling about it. The character I just did in the play is like a very angry guy who hates himself, and so I was feeling all those feelings. And Vanessa's character was like this kind of like tortured older woman, and so she was maybe feeling that too. I suppose if we were playing really happy, confident people who liked each other and ourselves, we might have had a better experience and got to the theater a little bit later. I think it's less conscious. Like in retrospect, I understand what you're saying, but like at the time, I just kind of like sort through what they send me, and if I like it, I will do it. I rarely think about, I rarely think, well, I did something like that last year, because everything is really different. Like, even when you're, I don't know. Like, they send me different things to act in, and I got lucky that there was a period of time where I was not getting scripts that I really liked, so I started writing plays, and that's, like, the last play I did, I wrote 6 years ago, because I was, like, frustrated with my acting career, what I was getting sent, so I just said, I'll just write plays and do them. So I wrote plays, and I started performing in New York, and so I guess I get... but now I feel like better because they're sending me things that are more varied. I don't know how people really think of me or how I'm perceived, and I don't watch things I've been in, so I don't really know how I even come off. But I like having different experiences, and I like working on stuff where people are taking it seriously and where the people making it are treating it with respect. I know that seems like an obvious thing, but it's like kind of actually a rare thing where the people making it actually like take it seriously and are not just like, I don't know, trying to get something made or trying to make money or something like that. And even a movie like this, which seems like kind of a big budget movie and everything, when I first met with Louis Leterrier, I asked him what is he think of for the acting, and he gave me all of these like French art films to look at the acting, and I was watching these movies. There's like the most like dramatic, terrifying acting I've ever seen, and I thought like, well, this is somebody who really likes good acting, and this is somebody who really wants like good acting, and so to do it in a movie like this is like a great opportunity, because you get to be in like kind of a bigger movie, but get to do your job well, and so all of the actors felt that way about this. Cool. Yeah, I think that maybe, I don't know how they did that. Yeah, he's really visually arresting, so we would do, I guess that's why it took so long to shoot these shows, is because they would do so many camera angles. I mean, just to give an example, like in the first show where we're performing in, where we robbed the bank in Paris from the stage in New Orleans, the first shot, I think, is this like shot where the camera's on a cable and it circles around us and it goes through everybody. It's like a maybe 3-minute shot, which in movie terms is like epic, and then it ends up on a close-up of Morgan Freeman. So it's like goes from this incredibly wide shot from the ceiling of this arena, circles around us, we're doing various things, and then winds up on a close-up of somebody. So it's like something like that makes it visually arresting. You know, the show I just did in New York, they wanted to film, and I asked them not to because I know how, like, when you shoot a show, like you're saying, it just looks like the most boring sitcom in the world. Just like a single shot of people performing on stage, and it's washed out, and the costumes look weird. So with this, you know, Louis is just a great, I guess, visual filmmaker. So he's able to create shots that keep it entertaining, and there's probably an interesting musical soundtrack too, but I haven't heard it. Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, always the audience, but I guess, the audience. I guess as actors, you're like trying to, pretend like you're performing for the biggest audience in the world, even though when the camera's like close on you, everybody has gone home in the audience.
Cool.
I really got into sleight of hand stuff, but, you know, it's like the kind of thing that I would have had to practice for so many years, so I didn't have the time to learn, but you know, after the movie ended, I had to, like, go do something else, so, you know, you develop these skills sometimes in movies and then immediately abandon them, even though you've been immersing yourself in them for months. So I didn't lose the muscle memory of it, but I didn't get better.
But if you could do
Oh,
anything,
definitely sleight of hand. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's the most impressive thing to see what these guys do. Also, I bite my nails, and probably if I knew better card tricks, I would have longer fingernails. Yeah.
Do you change the type of music you listen to character to character, and if not, what music do you usually use to inspire you?
Oh yeah, I often listen to like, it's kind of cheesy, I guess, but like when I was doing this movie, I had just finished a play in New York, and the play had all these associations with the music, because you're performing, and then there's music in the transitions, so I'm like have all these weird emotional connections to this music that played in between the scenes, because you're on stage still, but the lights are dim and you're still like experiencing the feelings you had, and so I would like listen to that music a lot, and still for like a few movies I did last year, and then the play I just finished in New York, I always ask for all the sound cues so I can have them, so when I act in something I am able to like trigger the emotions because I associated them with the play.
Wow.
And then as far as your own taste in music, do you listen to something that gets you out of that place?
Oh yeah, I mean I listen a lot to like because I'm working in like downtown New York theater, there's not a lot of hip hop fans. So like I like this band Souls of Mischief. They're like early '90s hip hop, and I would always play them backstage, and everybody would get a little annoyed because you know, the other actor was Vanessa Redgrave, and so everybody's like trying to be very respectful, and I was blasting hip hop from my dressing room. Yeah.
Thanks for talking to us.
Oh, thanks, Kyle.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
That was
To
wonderful.
me.
Thank you so much. It's a fabulous movie.
Oh, thanks a lot for coming.